Eventually lost contact with her and could not talk with her any further. And the Lyndonville fire, along with multiple mutual aid companies, arrived on the scene, and they were not able to enter the house in time to save an 80-year-old woman that resided there alone. We're still in the process of making notifications to family, so we're not releasing the name yet, but she was an 80-year-old woman, lived there alone. Preliminary reports indicate that there was a wood stove burning. We have Orleans County fire investigators from the Emergency Management Office, the Sheriff's Office, also state fire investigators on the scene conducting an investigation to determine the cause and origin of the fire. So we're still working on that. That's going to be hours. And so we're not able to tell you exactly what the cause and origin of the fire was. And sure.
Okay.
Are you expecting that area still to be closed down for a while then?
Yeah, we believe we have the road shut down, and I think it will be for probably several more hours. Not to go on, but the house is extremely cluttered, and it appears to be a lot of things in the house.
What kind of things?
Things that a person would store over the course of many years in their home, and so that's you know, causing some difficulty for the firefighters to first extinguish the fire. Orleans County Highway and Yatestown Highway is on the scene assisting with excavators in moving walls and moving things around to try to get the fire out completely. And fire investigators will be digging through the scene for some time.
Has the body been removed?
The body's been removed. The Orleans County Coroner's Office was on scene. The body's been removed and transported to the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office for an autopsy.
And you just said that the stove, you believe that there was a wood stove burning?
It appears that there was a wood stove burning, but we're not ready to say that that was the cause of the fire at this point. So
You mentioned the clutter and the difficulties for crews. Was it that way outside of the home as well? How challenging was this house fire altogether for these crews?
it was an older house, large, with an addition on the back. There were several large trees very close to the house, so it kind of hindered firefighting efforts at the beginning. But the fire was very intense, the smoke was intense, and it was what you would refer to as a working fire. And so it really, all the responders are dealing with some difficulties because they couldn't reach the victim, including our 911 dispatcher, who was distraught over the fact that she could not talk her out of the house. She was an elderly woman, and she was upstairs, and she could not get her directed out of that house. She couldn't come down the stairs because of the heavy fire and smoke. So our dispatchers, our firefighters, our deputies are all dealing with some serious things today. So
I was going to say, it's difficult enough for a firefighter who's there on the scene not to be able to save a life, and you're on the phone with somebody.
Right.
You hear them die.
She is just, you know, they deal with life and death situations every day. Every day they come to work, they're handling people's lives. They're right in their, dispatchers have people's lives in their hands every day, and this one was really personal. Went from speaking to the lady slowly not being able, coughing, not being able to respond. So it's a tough one today, it really is. And you can't say enough about our public safety dispatchers and 911 dispatchers.
I can see emotion on your face as
Sure.
well. Just, I mean, you mentioned the dispatcher, the other crew members. Are you able to speak kind of personally to how something like this really does affect you guys at the
Yeah,
scene?
it just rips your heart out that you can't get there. Would a few minutes made a difference? Maybe, but you know, we have We had the deputies working the midnight shift, and we had a deputy on scene within 9 minutes of the original call, and the fire was so intense and the smoke was so intense, he actually injured his hand trying to break through the glass and get in there. Couldn't get in there, and that's, those are the kinds of things you take home and you think about and you live with.
Was the clutter an issue? I mean, was it a physicality problem trying to get into the house? Or
Yeah,
it because
there was some clutter that was around the doorways. I think it was a lady who liked to collect things, and she had a lot of things in her house. So,
Is there any, I mean, and this could be just speculating, but if, when crews were there, if there wasn't all the clutter, if the trees weren't the way they were,
I'm not ready to say that. From what reports that I got received were the fire was really intense and the smoke was intense. So it had a good start. And she made her call that her house was on fire. So how she found out the house was on fire, she had a small dog, from what we understand. Maybe the dog were to come in and try to wake her up, I'm not sure. But somehow she discovered the house was on fire, but couldn't make it, couldn't get out.
we're just going to ask about pets. Do we know if that dog survived?
That dog did not survive,
Any other pets?
not that I'm aware of.
You know if the house had working smoke detectors?
I do not know that at this point. It's one of the things that the investigative crew is working on, and do not know at this point if the detectors were there, and if they were there, were they working?
How important is that? Because especially in this kind of area, rural areas, people are using wood stoves to heat their houses overnight. How important is it to make sure you have those working?
Oh, it's extremely important to get your smoke detectors put in place, check them, make sure they're working, change the batteries if needed, or get new ones if you need them. There's ways to get them if you don't have the funds. Go to your local fire department. I'm sure they will find a way to get you the proper detectors in your home. Remains to be seen whether this was a case of a not working smoke detector, or maybe by the time it was working or alarming, it was upstairs, maybe the fire was downstairs. All of that is under investigation at this point.
How long did it take to really, I know you said there's still maybe some hot spots. How long did it take for them to contain the fire, and where is it at right now?
The fire is basically a salvage operation now, and an investigation situation. The hot spots, I believe, have been extinguished. However, we do have excavators on scene to move debris and other items so the firefighters can get in there, the heavy items.
This doesn't look suspicious at any point.
We don't have any reason at this point to believe it's suspicious.
What's next for the rest of the day as far as with the home?
Well, we'll get a cause of death from the medical examiner's office at some point. Not sure if that'll be today. And the fire investigator crews from the sheriff's, state fire, and the emergency management will remain on scene along with Lyndonville Fire, and they will continue to go through debris, establish a cause and origin, and recover any other evidence that is maybe on the scene.
Yes.
Could you just say and spell your name and identify yourself?
Sure. Christopher Bourke, B-O-U-R-K-E, and I'm the undersheriff in Orleans County.
You said that, again, the clutter was something that was definite in the house. That stopped.
It was a
them.
cluttered house. I don't want to emphasize that too much, that we,
But you don't know if that was the reason they couldn't get in?
I'm saying that the deputies noticed a lot of clutter. They were able to get a door open, but when they did, it didn't matter if there was clutter or no clutter. There was so much fire and smoke, they could not get in.
Gotcha.
It was like solid black smoke, rolling in heat, and the deputies just couldn't get through there.
Homes destroyed?
They tried they tried 2 doors, one on the side, one in the front, and they just couldn't get in.
Somebody said the trees growing outside, like into the house.
Yeah, it was.
You can only attack it through one door.
Yeah, it was sort of an overgrown, sort of a yard. You'll see in the pictures.
Destroyed?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, well, I mean, there's still some walls that are standing, and sorry, I've got a bad
Is there a way
bug.
that we can get down to?
Sure, I'm going to take you all, if you want to, will follow me down, and I'll get you right up to the scene.
Sounds good.
We're live and like,
If it's okay, yeah,
we're not gonna have time to make it to the scene.
No.
We gotta be live here.
yes.
We're 7 minutes away.
Okay.
We're gonna go live at noon.
Then
if
I'll
that's
wait for you
okay.
out here with my white.